I would like us to welcome the next panel that we've got here, and they are here to discuss the school meals as a lever for food systems transformation and environmental and climate sustainability. And for that, we have as the panelists from Sao Tomé and Príncipe, Timor-Leste, Côte d'Ivoire, the Republic of Congo, the United States of America, and UNICEF. I'm very happy that they have joined, and I would like to invite on stage, I presume that has already happened, that we have Ms. Yasmine Sherif, who is the Executive Director of Education Cannot Wait. Please, I'm handing this over to you such that you can take the lead on this particular, and this is the last one. This is when we're going to see the winners, right? They're crossing that finish line, and you're going to do it for us in good time so that you know the engagement you have at 5:30 sharp. So over to you. Can you hear? I'll hand you mine because we have to go that final stretch.
I love your energy. We're going to run fast because we have to win the human race here at the Global School Meals Coalition. And congratulations to the organizers, to our dear friends in WFP, to France for hosting it, to Finland, to all the other member states of the Global School Meals Coalition. We will run fast. That's what we do at Education Cannot Wait. And all our partners are here with me on stage. I think they all have been introduced. My name is Yasmine Sherif. I'm the Executive Director of Education Cannot Wait, which is a global fund at the United Nations for Education in Emergencies and Protracted Crisis, hosted by UNICEF, serving the whole UN system and civil society and our host governments in conflicts, refuge, and climate-induced disasters. Now, let me introduce our colleagues. I will start from the right. From Ukraine, Dr. Ihor Kuzin. Welcome very, very much. Good to have you here. Invite also our partner from the United States, Ms. Alexis Taylor. Lovely to have you with us. And from Timor-Leste, Her Excellency, Dr. Dulce Soares. Say hello to my dear friend, Jose Ramos Horta. And to my left hand, from Sao Tomé, Príncipe, Her Excellency, Ms. Isabel Maria Correia Viegas de Abreu. Yeah, it's a beautiful name. And next to you, we have from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, His Excellency, Mr. Jean-Luc Mouthou. And my dear friend from UNICEF, Mr. Robert Jenkins, welcome. So now we'll move fast. We have 40 minutes. The moderator, which is me, I will have to leave at 5:30 if we don't finish the finishing line or reach the finishing line. So a few words, I will shorten my own intervention or opening, but we all know and we all agree, if you are hungry and a hungry child, besides the fact that you are not growing and developing, it impacts your brain, your physical growth, but you cannot learn. There is not a child or adolescent that can sit in a classroom in an empty stomach and try to learn. And even less so, if you are a child or an adolescent in the middle of an armed conflict, in a refugee camp, or running away because of a climate-induced disaster, it is virtually impossible to expect that from a young child. Learn and be hungry. So school meal is fundamental for a child. And I really think we all here want to applaud the strong advocacy and work on the ground that World Food Program carries out to make this a top priority for all of us. They're not the only ones, but they are strong advocates. Others are, of course, UNICEF, many civil society organizations, UNESCO, UNHCR, and many. I just met with the Minister for Developmental Trade from Finland, Finnish Church Aid, so many others, and local organizations talking about the Democratic Republic of Congo. We're doing great work together with your government in Tanganyika, and there the Salvation Army implements the school feeding program under the ECW's holistic investment with many of our colleagues. We also know girls are already marginalized because they're girls. And when it comes to school meals, it marginalizes them further. We know even when you deliver humanitarian aid, girls are always the last on the line. So to bring girls back to school, it's also important to provide the incentive for their parents, for the communities, that the girls and the boys, of course, get one proper meal a day, because many families cannot afford that themselves. And so I think we all agree it's possible, school meal makes it possible as an incentive for parents and communities to send their children and the girls to school, but also makes it possible for the students to learn. And I'd like to point out that there's mass of evidence that points to the effectiveness of school feeding, if there's anyone who does not believe the evidence or the facts to be true. And studies have been undertaken by the World Food Program and the World Bank, and how school feeding and strengthens gender equality, health and nutrition, social protection, local economies, and agriculture. And at ECW, Education Cannot Wait, as a fund, we work again very closely with UN agencies and civil societies and host governments, ministries of education. And school feeding is one of our top priorities in our strategic plan 2023 to 2026. And through that joint programming, we ensure that school feeding is part of a holistic approach of infrastructure, teacher training, mental health and psychosocial services, learning materials, and so forth and so forth. If school feeding is not there, no learning will take place despite all other elements. And I'd like to conclude by saying that through our cooperation and investment in school feeding, we have in our joint investments at Education Cannot Wait reached 600,000 children and adolescents in 15 countries. And our partnership with World Food Program during the last 4 years alone, we have invested over $15 million in school feeding across sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East, Latin America. Now I will stop here, and I think this was less than 5 minutes. I hope so, because now I will pass on to our colleague from Sao Tomé and Príncipe, and ask you how we know that you have made impressive strides in the past. All my papers here now. Yeah, impressive strides. Where are my colleagues? Sao Tomé and Príncipe. You're sitting here to my left. Yes. Everything turns upside down in this one, but it is what it is. We do our best. I would like to ask you, Your Excellency, you have made impressive strides in the past years in making school meals available. So you are already working on it, both in pre-primary and in primary schools. Can you tell us a little bit more about the plans that you have ahead towards 2030 to meet the goal in Sao Tomé and Príncipe? Over to you, Your Excellency.
Muito obrigada. Primeiramente, eu quero agradecer ao país anfitrião que acolheu essa conferência e gostaria de vos dizer com muito prazer que hoje me junto a vós para apresentar a visão, realizações, desafios do Programa de Alimentação Escolar, que é o PENASE em São Tomé e Príncipe. Nós acreditamos em São Tomé que um dos fatores importantes para melhorar a segurança alimentar, a saúde, a nutrição, o desenvolvimento econômico local, através de investimentos feitos na alimentação escolar, o apoio do PAM, em São Tomé e Príncipe, implementa este programa há mais de 40 anos. Então, São Tomé e Príncipe, neste momento, é o primeiro país da África que alcançou a cobertura da alimentação escolar gratuita universal, financiada exclusivamente pelo Orçamento Geral do Estado. Nós, em São Tomé e Príncipe, estamos abertos para acolher os países africanos de pequenos estados insulares que conhecessem a nossa experiência com alimentação escolar e universal. A nossa maior rede de cobertura de segurança ao país é que nós alimentamos 1/4 da população, que são 50.000 crianças que fazem a refeição quente todos os dias. O PNASE, que é o Programa Nacional de Alimentação Escolar, é um programa autônomo do Ministério da Educação, que sobrevive com a rúbrica do Estado santomense, tem uma conta bancária própria, recebe apoio técnico do PAM, tem a comparticipação dos pais encarregados de educação, tem uma equipa de trabalho organizada, um programa anual próprio e também garante emprego para 480 mulheres que são mães de família. E, neste momento, nós queremos expandir o programa para a obtenção de alimentos localmente produzidos, como forma de ativar a economia local, tornar mais ou menos dependentes das importações, cobrir 180 dias de alimentação e dos nossos cálculos feitos com as nossas despesas para esse trabalho da acréscimo como melhoria para a qualidade, nós necessitamos de 25 milhões de dólares nos próximos 5 anos, sendo 14 milhões de dólares viriam do próprio país e 12 milhões de dólares viriam de fontes externas. E para isso, nós tínhamos que fazer a troca de dívida com principais credores de São Tomé e Príncipe, como, por exemplo, Portugal, Brasil, ou outras instituições financeiras internacionais que podem ser opções. São Tomé e Príncipe necessita, nesse momento, do apoio do consórcio de investigação de School Mills e coabitações para analisar o impacto do nosso programa ao longo do prazo na economia nacional como maior e mais longa rede de segurança alimentar. Como perspectiva para 2030, nós queremos que a distribuição da alimentação escolar atingisse a escolaridade básica obrigatória gradualmente até a 9ª classe, como forma de manter a qualidade do ensino. Porque em São Tomé, as crianças só vão para a escola quando fazem uma refeição quente. Obrigada.
And rather than summarizing everything towards end, I think, first of all, you're representing a model. You've been ahead of the curve, and you're calling for more funding to make sure that every child has a hot meal a day. If I were to summarize your very, very important and to the point points. Thank you so much.
Obrigada.
Now I turn to my right and to Timor-Leste. She's also a country that has gone through a lot, but is doing so much to invest in changes for its people and its young people and the students. So, Minister Soares, in the last year, Timor-Leste, you nearly doubled. You can use mine. You nearly doubled your allocation to school feeding. So now, can you tell us a little bit about the plans for school feeding and expected developments for your national program in Timor-Leste?
Thank you very much for the question. Before going into details, I'd like to say how grateful I am for giving me this opportunity to address you today. Timor-Leste gained its independence over 22 years ago. With support of WFP, with support of WFP, we start our school feeding program in 2005. And in 2011, our government decided to take over the program. And right now, currently we have around 350,000 children benefiting from this program. Talking about allocation for the school feeding program, actually, it has been shown as a testament of our dedication to ensuring all children receive not just education, but also the nutrition that they need to drive and to become the drivers of all our efforts. Although this significant increase in budget just happened in 2023, but we already received many good feedback and some empirical feedback from our teachers, which is many of them said that the children are more healthier, the children are the children are more active in classroom. I think this is a promising indicator of all our efforts we've made to school feeding program. Recently, one of our counterparts, which is supported by Governor Dole, conducted an online survey, and they found that when the school meals are offered, the children are more happier, they're learning better, and they're focused, and it has a positive correlation with learning result, and this is very important. And most of our teachers said that they all agreed to continue with this school feeding program because this is very important for the development of the children. As I've said, that it's contributed a lot to improve our learning result. I also would like to share with one of our experience that in Timor-Leste we promoted also school garden. And the school garden has been inserted as one of our curricular subjects. I think this is very important, not only learning at school, but the students also bring this practice to their family. This is very important. And also, we also emphasize our school feeding system by using this locally sourced fresh food for our school meals. This part, I think, as many of my friends here already mentioned, that this will it's contributed a lot to the economy of their local farmers. And also through the school feeding program, we also through the school feeding program, it's also created a sense of responsibility and a sense of responsibility of our community, and also they also participated actively in helping the schools. And we also focused, together with WFP, we also focused on education and awareness raising campaign to ensure that the children, parents, and teachers, they all promoting this healthy learning habit. I think this part is very important. We also, right now, we are working closely with WFP in developing a school meals manual, which is in my return, we launch it. And again, WFP has been our long-standing partners in supporting us in implementation of the school feeding program. To me, the most important for me now is maybe some of my friends in this room. So if you have any experience or best practice about M&E, I think I really want to learn from you, because my problem now is to make sure how I can implement this school feeding program effectively. Even though in this morning presentation of WFP, I've seen a very good M&E system here at that. That's why I want to say that, okay, let's put our hand together to nurture the bright minds and healthy body of our nation's future leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think here, your dramatic increase in the budget is a big model for others to follow. We all love innovative solutions or extraordinary solutions to abnormal problems with your gardens, fresh food, and also, as you said, the increased economy for the local farmers. It all belongs and connects together. Thank you very much. I will make an exception from the speaker list because I need to apologize. And I'm turning to His Excellency, the Minister from the Republic of Congo. I made a mistake, and I would like to, therefore, to give you the floor. Sorry. Papers everywhere. But the Minister, Mouthou, is from the Republic of Congo. And I apologize. Sometimes, I'm from Sweden, and then people say, oh, you're from Switzerland. And I say, it's okay, we're all one humanity. But I'm therefore going to give you the floor before I give it to anyone else as a symbol of apology to you. Now back to my talking points. For the Minister Mouthou, we understand that the Republic of Congo has initiated establishing national committees. Can you tell us how you have developed these national committees for school feeding and what we can learn from you? Thank you. And over to you. Merci beaucoup.
Je voudrais vous remercier tout de suite et remercier le gouvernement français pour cette belle opportunité d'échange. Remercier également la coalition pour toute cette belle initiative et dire que le Congo renoue avec ce dispositif après l'année 2000, à la fin d'un conflit interne qui avait laissé beaucoup de traces au sein de la société. Et depuis, nous avons renoué, je le disais, avec l'alimentation scolaire pour dire qu'il s'agit d'un moyen essentiel d'égalité, d'inclusion sociale pour de nombreux enfants issus notamment des milieux défavorisés. Sur à peu près 900, un peu plus de 900 écoles publiques qui ne couvrent que 25% de la prise en charge en milieu scolaire à l'heure actuelle, nous avons de l'ambition. On le disait ici, qu'il s'agit évidemment de faire preuve de beaucoup d'ambition politique. Et c'est à ce stade que le dernier atelier Saber que nous avons eu en juin 2023 s'est engagé pour une politique nationale d'alimentation scolaire claire, avec une vision claire et très ambitieuse, et qui voudrait qu'à l'horizon 2025, que l'ensemble des enfants de notre système éducatif, notamment l'enseignement de base, puissent bénéficier d'une alimentation saine, équilibrée, durable, de bonne qualité et faite sur la base des produits locaux. C'est à cela que nous travaillons à l'heure actuelle, et rappelez, vous le disiez certainement aussi, que nous avons une direction nationale de l'alimentation scolaire qui coordonne la mise en œuvre des programmes d'alimentation en étroite collaboration avec le PAM. Nous avons une politique nationale de l'alimentation scolaire qui fonctionne donc depuis 2016. Et à la question que vous posez, celle des engagements, nous allons retenir que le dernier atelier de Saber de juin 2023 a révélé des choses, 3 choses notamment qui sont pertinentes. Il s'agit de constater que le budget est faible, le budget alloué à l'alimentation scolaire est faible. Il s'agissait aussi d'espérer son augmentation et notamment et surtout d'assurer les décaissements de ces fonds en faveur du système de l'alimentation scolaire. Et pour ce faire, le gouvernement s'est engagé à monter un budget pluriannuel conséquent et à favoriser les décaissements d'ici 2025 pour être en adhésion, en adéquation avec l'ambition exprimée. Et ceci nécessitait justement un grand travail de coordination qui exigeait que de principaux organes, de grands organes de coordination puissent être mis en place, ce qui n'existait pas jusque-là. Et puis aussi mettre en place notamment ces outils qu'on appelle le Conseil national multisectoriel de l'alimentation scolaire et également le Conseil technique interministériel. C'est à cela que nous sommes en train de travailler à l'heure actuelle pour pouvoir atteindre les objectifs que nous nous sommes fixés. Et rappeler aussi, c'est très important, que depuis un certain nombre d'années déjà, nous avons mis en place dans les établissements scolaires le mécanisme qu'on appelle une école, un champ, une école, un jardin, et qui fonctionne, et également le nouveau concept de terre d'école, dans lequel évidemment il y a la pédagogie, mais les enfants travaillent la terre, sont en lien avec la terre, et c'est un concept innovant sur lequel nous sommes en train de travailler. Les écoles sont en train de sortir de terre pour mettre en place ce dispositif et permettre justement aux élèves de pouvoir s'alimenter directement avec les produits de leur jardin. Dans le contexte qui est le nôtre à l'heure actuelle, l'agriculture occupe une place particulièrement importante dans le programme national de développement. Et dans ce contexte-là, de nombreux outils sont en train d'être mis en place. Nous y travaillons pour permettre d'allier toute cette volonté avec les exigences qui sont attendues de nous, de la part de nos élèves notamment. Je vous remercie.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And I think we heard again about quality food, not just any food, but quality kitchen gardens. It's interesting to see how we can all think alike across the oceans. And also, I think it's important we're coming back to funding again. Insufficient. There's the will is there, the political will is there, the national programs are there, but the funding is missing. So I think that was another important point raised by His Excellency, that we need to share and work together when we hear of such great political will and commitment coming from governments to provide healthy, quality food. Thank you very much, Minister Mouthou. Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to Dr. Ihor Kuzin. And you are now in a context of an armed conflict. And under the leadership of the government and the First Lady in Ukraine, can you please share with us how you are overcoming the challenges to deliver school feeding despite the difficulties surrounding you? Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to start with the fact that Ukraine began working in school meals reform in stable context, and then continued the reform in war-affected context. And of course, it's speciality in our country. But in 2020, the First Lady of Ukraine, Olena Zelensky, initiated the school nutrition reform, and at the beginning, a comprehensive audit of the school feeding system in Ukraine was conducted. And only after that, we adopted a national framework for reforming the school feeding system. I want to give an example of several communication messages which First Lady said at the start of this initiative. Let's not just do this for show, but for ourselves. Or we are not preparing food, but we are preparing the future. This became an unofficial motto for the entire team and everyone participating in this reform. In a very short period, we managed to achieve significant progress. We comprehensively updated the national legislation, new sanitary regulation, new menu, and so on. We initiated the holding of national events. For example, 5 national forums were held for representatives of more than 1,500 representatives from the region and national level. And we started to improve the infrastructure base of educational institutions. In 2022, the government provided about $14 million in targeted contribution for infrastructure modernization. Unfortunately, the progress was disrupted by the war. But thanks to the joint effort of national and international partners, after the start of the war, the reform of school meals didn't stop. Now we actively work on developing personal potential, conduct training in communities and among local politicians, and create a culture of healthy eating. Even now, the infrastructure of school damaged by the war is being restored in Ukraine. Culinary hubs are being opened to train chefs in educational establishment. And factory kitchen projects are being implemented with the support of First Lady Olena Zelenska and the Buffett Foundation. Next year budget has already allocated 1.5 billion hryvnias. It's about $39 million only to renovate schools' kitchens. More than 700,000 children from vulnerable group are receiving school meals for free this year. I think maybe my last points will be the next. I would like to outline the main strengths and critical aspects of this reform working in Ukraine. First of all, it's leadership and political support. The next one is cooperation and partnership. The ability to reassess priority quickly and clear intersectoral national strategy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And all that you are able to do, including budgeting and culinary hubs for training, for delivering school meals and education, despite the brutal conflict, I think that's very impressive. You still keep going in an abnormal situation, trying to normalize life for the young generation and ensure they get healthy school meals every day. So that alone is worth us all bowing to you. Thank you very, very much for that. Now we are moving on. We have two more speakers. Everyone is running with speed. And I will first turn to our colleagues from the United States of America and the Secretary Taylor. And if you could tell us more about how school feeding, both at home and abroad, support more equal and inclusive future and the commitments that the U.S. has recently made. If you could give us a good insight into that, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think first and foremost, the United States is committed to ensuring our school feeding programs are inclusive, both within the United States, but also internationally through the McGovern-Dole program, which I think we've heard about on every panel so far today. That means we work to ensure that inclusivity applies to who is able to access the school meals, who is able to sell into the school meal programs, including small and underrepresented farmers. And it also means inclusivity on what products are accessible to students through school meals. The United States domestic school breakfast and lunch programs administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture reach millions of children daily. 60% of American students participate in these programs. Reaching children from low-income families is critical, with 3/4 coming from those households. During the pandemic, the U.S. Congress funded free school meals to students in the United States, and we witnessed these benefits of universal free programs. A nationwide response has been really a catalyst for change in the United States. Today, 10 states have passed legislation supporting universal free school meals, and 20 more are working through their state legislative processes for similar programs. Looking forward, the Biden administration is committed to expanding free, healthy school meals for an additional 9 million children by 2032. USDA is also expanding its local and regional procurement mechanisms to increase access to healthy, nutritious foods. Since 2020, USDA has provided nearly $3.8 billion to purchase domestic and unprocessed foods, with a focus to expand purchases again from small and underserved farmers. And USDA is also focused on expanding local and seasonally available food to our school meal programs. We call this through the Farm to School program, which provides over $1 billion annually to nearly 3/4 of the school districts in the United States. On the international front, the United States is proud to be the world's largest feeding donor thanks to the McGovern-Dole program. Its goals are to increase literacy and reduce hunger, especially for girls. Two of my co-panelists come from countries that have received McGovern-Dole support, and I think the relationship we have with these host countries is really critical to the success of that program, so thank you. In fiscal year 2023, the United States has just recently committed $230 million in international school feeding efforts through the McGovern-Dole program in 7 countries. These funds, the program will provide U.S. agricultural commodities, as well as financial and technical assistance to reduce hunger and improve literacy and primary education with, again, a focus for girls. To achieve these objectives, McGovern-Dole interventions are designed to consider gender differences in a local context, minimize gender inequality or inequities, and contribute to child safeguarding. Also, just like in the United States, school meals programs, we also support local procurement with a portion of the project funding purchasing food from local producers. In the last 2 decades, McGovern-Dole has benefited more than 31 million children and families in 48 countries, providing more than 5.5 billion school meals and supporting related nutrition, literacy, and teacher training programs. Presently, there are 48 active McGovern-Dole projects in 33 countries in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. To help support children thrive, the McGovern-Dole program takes a multifaceted approach, tackling a wide range of issues that support nutrition and literacy, from things like infrastructure to teacher training, to parental and community support, and basic health interventions. Since the end of the pandemic, McGovern-Dole school meals have been really an instrument in drawing children back to school and providing not only an incentive to attend, but also alleviating hunger and supporting that critical learning. As the United States continues to invest in school feeding programs, both in the United States and at home, we remain committed to ensuring our programs are accessible, nutritious, and inclusive. Thanks.
Lovely. Thank you so very much. And I would just stress, I mean, we know that PRM is USAID. We know you're very well doing a lot. Through education cannot wait, but that you also mentioned Ministry of Agriculture and the enormous contributions to the World Food Program, I think has helped us move fast forward on the agenda of school meals and the whole coalition here. So there's a lot to say. Thank you for. Thank you very, very much. Now, lastly, UNICEF, and we have Rob, you're fast, right? Yes. Even though you have a lot to say. So Rob, representing UNICEF, one of the biggest UN agencies operating also very heavily on nutrition and school feeding. Please, the word is yours.
Thanks, Yasmine. Being the last speaker, I think I will add to what many other speakers have said and congratulate WFP for such an amazing day, for all the work we do together around the world in this very, very important area. And it's just been a partnership that we greatly appreciate, and congratulations. And also, of course, to the French government for very kindly hosting us and their leadership in this area. I think what I take away and what I would like to add to the discussions is the importance of, and it was mentioned in the previous panel also, the leadership that has so clearly come out today, the committed to action sense that we have. And that's not always the case in global meetings around education that many of us have spent a lot of time in. You can see the commitment to scale, the commitment to reaching marginalized children. As we scale, I do think it's very important for us to continually recognize that it's been a very challenging time for disadvantaged, marginalized children around the world in terms of learning and nutrition levels. And so which children are benefiting as we're scaling up and prioritizing those who have been left behind, I think is critical. So scale and focusing on the most marginalized. The other part of what's most exciting for me for the course of the day is when you look around the room is all the different sectors and colleagues working in different parts that we don't often in education interact with. We don't interact with enough. Those we see ministries of agriculture, ministries of health, ministry of nutrition and finance and heads of state and others. My colleague, the director of nutrition, is here, and UNICEF very much sees this as both an education and a nutrition intervention, which is obviously absolutely critical. In education, I think we need to continually broaden out and recognize that for children to learn, as has been said many times, they need to be well nourished, they need to feel protected, but also we have a lot to offer in the school system to contribute to other sectors, and it requires a broader approach. Similarly, I think school meals needs to be put into a broader approach to nutrition more broadly, recognizing not only a school meal can solve malnutrition and the bigger challenge. So it requires an all hands on deck, and that's what we've seen today. Maybe the last thing to just say is, I think a key to success, and the evidence is strong, is involvement of stakeholders in this program, meaning teachers, principals, members of the communities, students themselves. There's some amazing programs where students are taking a leadership role in managing school meals program, and that's really exciting. But thanks, UNICEF stands ready. Our strength is our amazing capacity at country level. All our colleagues that work day-to-day basis with all of you count on our full support to take this work forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rob. I'm going to hand over, but just to stress, I think the great work that UNICEF is doing on the country level, WFP is doing on the country level, many civil society organizations, I think that's where things are happening, working together with the host governments is the critical. And I think we at Education Cannot Wait, we see you all the time. And without you, we couldn't do what we are doing. And it's all about coalitions working together and taking it to scale and focus on those most marginalized, as you said, Rob. Thank you very much. It's been absolutely a pleasure and privilege to be here. I'm leaving you, but you are the heroes, and I hope we learned a lot from you today. I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yasmine, Sherif, and you led us to the finish line in good time. One more round of applause for this particular panel. You could feel that it was the race, and it was that final stretch. Thank you. This was the last session of the day, and it highlighted everything we've been talking about: cross-sectoral coordination, the importance of school meals, the interventions, and everything we've talked about, leadership and all of that. It was exciting, it was full of energy, and I promise you tomorrow we'll even have more energy. We'll be in our second day of this great summit, and it will be filled with wonderful sessions, such as the session number 3, which we all felt energized about when we talked about where the money was coming from and how we could build those connections with the leadership and in terms of moderation from Cristina Duarte. So you would have similar things, because we'll be talking about how food systems transformation and climate sustainability is important and is part of school meals. We will also be listening to the experiences of municipalities, because it happens at that level. The communities, the communes, the cités, and all of that. If we don't build from that level, where are we going to go? That's how it's going to be important. So please don't miss that as well. And there will be several partners who will be making huge announcements. Okay, you can take it from me. I'm making the promise that there will be huge announcements tomorrow. So the most important thing is for you to join me to see if that comes true. And there will be opportunities for you to participate. So I would like to thank you all. So please, a round of applause for all of you who stayed until this moment. I would like to thank the interpreters again, but also the production team, the sound technicians with all the microphones, everything. Tomorrow, please, a round of applause for them. Tomorrow, we start at 9 o'clock sharp. The doors will be open to this center at 8 a.m., but please make sure you're here before 8:45. That will enable us to have a wonderful day tomorrow. Have a good evening. Thank you. Au revoir et à demain. 8 heures, dès 8 heures, vous pouvez rentrer. 8h45 au plus tard, et on commence les séances à 9 heures. Bonne soirée à Paris.